Thank you, Rhonda, and thanks again to each of you for being here, our friends in government, our friends in media, and of course our incredible community of collaborators. Science continues to push the limits of technology, of humanity. In the last century, we automated communication, and we continue to advance there. With continued advancements, we are on the verge of automating transportation. In doing so, it is expected that we will at least double our quality of life, as has been shown with each paradigm shift throughout human history. You will hear today about the challenges that can be overcome using smart technologies and policies, so I won't spend time in these opening remarks droning on about the potential applications. Instead, I hope to spark collaborative thinking, actionable thinking, about how we can use these efforts to bridge the gap and to improve people's lives. The question that might be asked of us, the question that I ask myself, is what did you do to compel your community to invest in these things? As there are many familiar faces in the audience, you probably know that Venture Smarter was born out of a need to bring cohesiveness to interdisciplinary and interagency efforts, leveraging smart technologies and strategies. We help agencies and organizations research, plan, fund, and deploy smart and connected solutions rooted in interoperability and resilience. But what is smart? How do all of these technologies work together? Who owns the data, and how are projects financed? How do we track and measure outcomes? And more, how do we ensure that we are creating better places to live for all people, regardless of socioeconomic or physical barriers? How will intelligent systems and infrastructure interact as you move from city to city, state to state, and region to region? With so many questions related to technology, policy, and community impact, it is no surprise that we discovered a need to cut the chaos out of smart city planning. In an effort to streamline smart city success stories, we realized that these efforts must reach beyond city limits, and certainly across party lines. We wanted to start by educating and aligning key stakeholders around available resources and addressable opportunity areas. For that reason, we launched Regional Smart Cities initiatives. To aid efforts, we crafted the 4 pillars of smart planning and began collaborating with leaders at IEEE, NIST, and other standards organizations to aggregate and develop interoperable and secure technology standards and planning processes. Using the planning pillars as a guide, we can shape cohesive conversations pointed at smart regional growth. I'll quickly say the 4 pillars, and then I'll walk through each of them individually. So the first pillar is connectivity, and that's the foundational layer upon which every solution in a smart city will scale. The second is mobility. That's the backbone of smart cities, moving people and goods, improving social mobility, and therefore economic development. And then the third and fourth are security and sustainability, and frankly, those are weaved into every planning decision we make when we build our smart cities and regions. So I'll go a little deeper, but I'll try to spare you. Connectivity is the foundational layer of any smart city, region, or community. We must connect our people, places, things, and information, or data. This means that we defeat the digital divide, ensuring people have equitable access to networks, devices, and digital literacy training where needed. We are also connecting our places or infrastructure. Doing that, we're using fiber, broadband, cellular, 5G, Bluetooth, sound, IoT, and low-frequency networks. The list goes on. And those allow us to connect our things. Our things are our cell phones, our traffic signals, our signs, our buildings, our vehicles, our emergency responders, and the platforms that manage all of these things. This means that the data collected must be secured, normalized, and centralized so that we might utilize analytics platforms to optimize public service delivery and planning. So connectivity is where we start. After we figure that out, we can have fun conversations about smart mobility and driverless vehicles, or more importantly, community impact. Mobility is the second planning pillar and the backbone of regional efforts. Smart mobility implies that we are more efficiently and effectively moving people and goods, as well as bolstering social mobility and, therefore, economic development. Smart and connected mobility corridors focus on multimodal transportation. They aim to alleviate congestion, to reduce emissions, and to improve the way people move around to access jobs, education, healthcare, retail. I'll avoid going deeper here as we will touch on these points in the panel later this afternoon. I'll move on to the third pillar, which is security. We focus on public safety and enhanced emergency response capabilities that are enabled by smart technologies. But using new technologies doesn't come without risk. We must always address and account for new vulnerabilities, threats, online and offline, thinking about cybersecurity, or cyber-physical security rather, as a paramount pillar. Equally as important is personal privacy. So we must build smart, connected, and secure systems across our cities and regions. And then the last pillar is sustainability. So it's frequent that we will talk about environmental sustainability in green cities, but equal to that, we're talking about economic and fiscal sustainability. So deploying solutions that always do at least one of three things. They cut costs, they generate revenue, or they create new value for agencies and residents. We also talk about improving our neighborhoods and community sustainability. So as we improve our neighborhoods, we must give residents the tools to be successful where they live, as opposed to pushing them out. But our work here has just begun. By being here today, you have chosen to lean in to support smart technology, policy, and infrastructure planning. And you will be treated to a stellar lineup of speakers and experts working in these fields. So thank you for being here. I look forward to collaborating with each of you, and I hope that we can build smart cities and regions across our great nation together. Thank you.